Bueno, 1, 2, 3, probando el audio. 1, 2, 3, probando el audio. ¿Cómo? Bueno. Como que me conviene poner un poco más atrás, ¿no? Por la luz. Sí. Ahora, déjame ver cómo te ves así, si lo pongo acá. Si está muy oscuro. Sí, me parece que es muy oscuro, no, es muy oscuro, ¿no? Voy a poner un poco más atrás. Bueno. Pon un poquito más bajo, ¿no? Creo que está así. ¿Más bajo? Sí. Ok, lo podemos poner un poquito. ¿Así está bien? ¿Te gusta ahí? Sí. ¿Viste? ¿No lo aprendés? No está enchufado. Ah. Bueno, listo. Listo. ¿Vas a hacer aguante? No es ideal, pero sí, sí, sí. Yo de hecho voy a hacer la presentación. Ah, bueno, listo. Te presento. Me he traído una lámpara más. De las de allá. Ya la traemos. Después la tenemos. Otro día la tenemos. Así que si me das un minuto por ahí la puedo enchufar ahí. ¿Cuál? Un segundo. Una de abajo. Ah. ¿Están viendo ese welcome y esa música? Sí. Está bien. La de la derecha también. A ver cómo se ve si estamos acá. Convence que está muy oscuro. Está oscuro. Yo lo pondría. A ver ahí. ¿Qué te parece? Está muy fuerte esta luz. Me parece mejor, sí. ¿Sí? Sí. Dejala prendida ahí al costado, va a ayudar. A hacerla más cálida. Bueno. Bueno. Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. I am Father Lucas Laborde of the St. John Society. I'm very happy to have all of you joining us for this live stream of the Alpha course that we are beginning tonight. We're going to allow a few more minutes for people to arrive and to get situated in the different places where we're at. So I'd like to welcome all of you joining us here in the DC area and also in other places. I know that Pablo and Diana are joining us from different locations. I know you guys have many people in your family joining from Mexico, Colombia, some in Texas, I think, North Carolina. So I'm very, very pleased to have all of you here. Also, many of you, of course, in DC. I know that Mercedes and Belen have their table with Lucas and Isabel and Santiago and Aline and someone, a friend who is working here now with them. And so welcome to all of you. Welcome and Paul Cohen and his family and friends there at home. I'd like to welcome all of you, also those who are with Mariana. I think there's some people joining you there at your place. I'd like to welcome especially the legacy of Table 9. I know many of you, like Amanda and Laura and Maria del Carmen, had many friends and people that somehow got connected. Also, a great greeting to you, Hayden and Alejandra. I know that you had Peter and Brian and some possibly other friends, those who joined the church in RCIA recently. I'd like to welcome especially those of you who recently joined the Catholic Church through RCIA. That's fantastic. So very pleased to have all of you. You know, this is a kind of a very unique situation. I'm talking to all of you, so many of you in different locations, and at the same time I feel like I'm talking to just a device in my room. So we are here in the studio of our house in DC, very close to St. Anne's Catholic Church, and I'm joined here by Father Ivan Pertine, who is our speaker for tonight. We will begin this Alpha course, which is a sort of basic 101 introduction to Christianity, and particularly to the Catholic Church, the Catholic faith. It's a way to present faith in a new, fresh way that is engaging, friendly, where you can ask your questions. And we feel that this Alpha is like a great open door where a lot of people can come and explore. Right? It's like a sort of inviting your friends to a cocktail where they can meet Catholics and ask questions and get to reflect on important questions that we all have about life. So with that, let's get started. You know how this is. This is it's an invitation that was extended to you by friends and family, and you can join every Tuesday at this time for as long as you want. Okay, we'll keep going. We'll have a whole series, but this is the first night, and if you like it, join us for the upcoming episodes of this series of Alpha. With that, I'd like to introduce Father Ivan Pertine, who is a priest of the St. John Society. He is one of those who began and one of the first ones to begin the society in Argentina. He's been living in the US for now 5 years. He has a master's licentiate in philosophy and now about to obtain a licentiate in theology. He's a great friend. He's a very great speaker, great mentor for me. So I'm very pleased to welcome him for this first night of Alpha.
Well, I wish I could see your faces and get to know each one of you, but meanwhile we can use technology to discuss these important topics. And today we're going to speak about happiness. We figure that it's a very basic and important way to begin this series, because happiness is that thing that we all seek. We cannot escape seeking happiness. It's unescapable. Aristotle said that happiness is the only thing that is sought for itself, for its own sake. The rest of the things that we do them one way or the other to be happy or to become happy. But we have different ideas of what makes us happy and what happiness is. I work a lot with college students, and I love to work with them because they are in that moment of life where they have so many expectations and dreams, and one of the questions that they come back to again and again is, will this make me happy? Will this career make me happy? Will this internship or study abroad will make me happy? Will this person will make me happy? Will I be happy in life? So they are seeking happiness as they move forward. So I think we all connect with that. It's pretty easy to relate with. And happiness is related to our fundamental desires that we have within us. So if we are able to satisfy those desires, then we are happy. And if we are not able to satisfy those desires, then we're not. The thing is that our desires has many layers. The human heart is not as simple, it's complex and has different layers. So we're going to, just to make it simple, divide those desires in 4. And we will discuss about the 4 levels of happiness connected with the 4 levels of desires. And we'll use some fancy words for this. No? So the first level of desire, let me see if I can manage this, is no, it's not changing. See if you can do it, Lucas, because okay, Father Lucas will be with me and change it for me. So the first level is called laetus, it's a Latin word. No? For example, we have the word Leticia, that means joy. No? So laetus. And this is the happiness that comes to us or that we achieve when we satisfy our desire for pleasure in all its different expressions. Actually, Aquinas called this desire concupiscible appetite. It's a fancy word, concupiscible appetite. Anything that has to do with pleasure. We desire pleasure in different ways. And if we can have pleasure, then we are happy. For example, I want to drink a beer. I love to drink a beer once in a while. And when I can grab a cold beer in a summer evening, I'm happy. It gives me pleasure. Or enjoying a sunny day, lying in the sand in a nice beach. It's a great pleasure to be there, enjoying the sun. And if I can do that, I'm happy. Or, sexual pleasure. And any pleasure that you can think of, anything that is pleasurable for us. We have that desire ingrained in our bodies, and when we can have that, then we have at least a basic but strong level of happiness. We all know what it means to, for example, wake up and in a sunny day or in a rainy day, and how that affects us. It's connected with this level of desire that is, again, ingrained in our bodies. This level is very universal. Everyone understands this level of happiness. You don't need to go to school to understand it. You don't need education. It's very democratic. We all have access to, one way or the other, to this level of happiness. And it's pretty easy to obtain. We want something, we have it, we are content. It works as an immediate gratification. Desire, fulfillment of that desire, and happiness for a while. You don't have to wait much. And again, it's easy to recognize. But it has its limitations as well. For example, it's not very diffusive. It's very ego-in. It's your own pleasure. It's not easy to expand it to others. I mean, you can share a meal or you can share a happy day with someone else, but somehow it's your own pleasure. And the other thing is that it doesn't last long. It's intense, but it goes away quickly, and we really quickly want more. It's not very deep also. It doesn't involve my powers of my intelligence, my creativity, or my love, or it's pretty basic. Okay, so that's the first one and the most easy one. The second one is what we call Felix. And it has to do with another appetite or another desire that is distinct from the first one. The medievals called it the irascible appetite. And it's this capacity or this desire to achieve difficult things that we all have. I remembered when I was 23, a long time ago, I was invited to, we wanted to go with a group of friends to climb the Lanín. The Lanín is tallest volcano in the Andes mountains in the south of Argentina. I don't know if we can show the next one. And so we wanted to reach its peak. It was a challenge, and we trained and we researched on how to do it. We bought the equipment that we needed. There you have a picture of the Lanín, and it's a summer picture, so you can see it's a tall volcano, and there's always snow in the top and ice, and I wouldn't say it's risky, but you need some degree of skill to be able to achieve it. So we wanted that, and so we did. And remember very well that it's a long story. I'll make it short, but the group had to climb in the morning, and I had to wait for someone else. But the someone else didn't show up, so I have to climb to the shelter alone on my own. So it was a very challenging thing. I had to go non-stop, otherwise, the night would find me still climbing. And I remember suffering a lot, being afraid of not finding my way, sleeping in the ice, exhausted, thirsty, and thinking to myself, why am I doing this? Why do I want to go up? For sure, it's not for pleasure. There's something else, and it's iconic. I think the desire to go up and to achieve and to conquer difficult things. For sure, there is some pleasure when you are up there and you're watching that, but it's not only about enjoying that moment. It's also about the journey of going up and pushing yourself to your limits. This desire or appetite is an energy that helps us to achieve things, to be successful, to seek excellence, to go beyond our own limits, so to say, to push yourself. I remember once a student at AU told me, I want to do something big. And I said, oh, great, what do you want to do? I don't know. So she didn't know what she wanted to do. She knew that it had to be something big. And that desire to do something big is good in itself, and it's this type of desire. Athletes, scientists, teachers, soldiers, actors, all sorts of professions know this. People that try to do their best and they want to achieve. The reward, the type of pleasure that we receive from fulfilling this desire is, for example, prestige, or honor, or fame, or status, or power. When we achieve things, we are usually recognized. We enjoy this honor of having done something that is unique or that is somehow remarkable. And we enjoy that before our own eyes, if you want, but also before the eyes of others. I remember some years ago I published a book that I wrote in Argentina about the Sermon on the Mount. That is all about being meek and humble and all that, no? But in any case, it was translated to English, and then I published it here in the US. So I remember feeling this when it was released. I felt that it was a personal achievement, no? And I was conscious of that feeling in the moment. No? That I was proud of speaking about how humble I should be. So regardless, the contradiction, it came to my mind that that's not bad. When you do something that is not as easy for, in my case, someone who just came from Argentina, my English is a little broken, and I was able to translate it and to publish it. So it was a personal achievement, and I didn't do it for that reason. I did it because I thought it was going to do some good to the people that were going to read it. But at the same time, I had to put a lot of effort into it. It was an achievement, and I enjoyed that achievement once I got it. Just to put a personal example, I'm sure you can give so many personal examples of things that you invested yourself, you worked a lot, you put a lot of effort, and then you achieved something, a degree or a diploma or an honor or something that somehow you hold as important in your life. The problem with this level of happiness is that it's not as easy to have. It's not as instant. The gratification that comes from this level of happiness comes after a while, and it implies a lot of work and also some skills. So this is the second problem. It's not as universal. It's not as democratic. Not everyone achieve the same things, and some things are only for few. So there's only one best GPA or things like that. No, so it's more selective, so to say. Okay. By the way, both levels are good, are God-given. God made us this way. No? So I'm not speaking about bad things, but good things. God gave us, made us with this desire for pleasure or pleasurable things, with this appetite, and God made us with this appetite for difficult things as well. Just to quote one verse of the Bible, St. Paul says to Timothy, he says, "Rely on God, who richly provides us with all things for our enjoyment." God gives us so many things that we can enjoy, so trust in Him. And it's good to it's good to know how to enjoy and to be able to enjoy, and it's also good to set goals and to achieve them and to be ambitious in life. If not, we just remain shallow, or we don't reach our best version, if you want. Okay, the third type of happiness, we call it beatitudo. Beatitudo. We have the word blessed in English that comes from here. And it's a desire that we have that is less rooted in the flesh. It's more ego out, it's less ego in, but it's still strong. It's this desire to make a difference around me. It's less rooted in the flesh because it springs from the fact that we are spiritual beings, spiritual and fleshed beings, no, soul and body, and so this desire is less related to the body. It's not that it's completely unrelated, but it's less than the other two, less visceral, so to say, and more spiritual. And it's this desire to make a difference around us in the world, in the big world, or even in our small world around us. And it comes from, or you can achieve it by doing something meaningful that will improve the life of others, or being with someone for the sake of that other. For example, let's say, remember when my grandmother that already passed away, but when she was in her last days, she would forget whatever you told her in 5 minutes. No? So you told her a story, and then 5 minutes later she would ask again the same thing. But I enjoyed sitting with her for an hour and telling her the same story 5 times. I knew that it was not making any difference in the sense that she was going to learn something new, but it made a difference because I was with her, and she deserved that type of company before going. So when I left that house, I was happy that I was that I had done that. It was not pleasure, for sure. There wasn't any achievements, but this conscience, this feeling of having made a difference in her life. So doing something for others, or just being with people for the sake for their own sake. This desire, I told you that I'm a chaplain with Father Lucas. We are chaplains at American University. We find this desire a very real desire in the students there. They do want to make a difference. They do have concerns and ideals about the world, and in fact many of them want to get into politics. They want to be politicians so that they can do something good for others, so that they can make a difference. Maybe some of power and prestige and honor and money is involved in that quest as well, number two, if you want. But I think for the most part they are idealistic, would you say? Like they have ideals and they want to somehow contribute for a better world. As I said, it's a strong desire. Viktor Frankl, he was a psychiatrist in Austrian psychiatrist, and he was a Jew, and he was imprisoned in the Second World War and was in Auschwitz. And there he noticed that people who survived the concentration camp was not necessarily the strongest or the healthier or the younger, but were the people who had motivation to live and to get out of the concentration camp. And he noticed that people who were too much concentrated on pleasure, people for whom pleasure was the main, if you want, objective in life, for sure they couldn't find that in the concentration camp, so they very quickly lost motivation to live. Or people who lived for prestige and achievements and honor and success, recognition. There wasn't much to be achieved when in a concentration camp. So also those lost motivation very quickly. But people who wanted to get out of the concentration camp so that they could do something with it, for example, tell the world or write about it. In his case, he wanted to write about this idea, the need for meaning and for purpose. Those people are people who had a family that were waiting for them, and they wanted to go back for the sake of their families. People who somehow had a motivation outside of themselves, those were the strongest. Even if they were maybe older or not as healthy, they had this strong desire to get out of the camp for the sake of others. I experienced this myself. Remember, with Father Lucas, we were in a mission trip when we were very young, when maybe 20, in Salta. Salta is the north part of Argentina. It's a very poor, the place where we were missioning, very poor place, and very hot, very warm in the summer. So it was in the summer, and we were there, living very austerely or poorly, not eating very well because we were cooking and we had rice and noodles and rice and noodles and rice and noodles every day, and visiting people, and there was many mosquitoes and different bugs. It was raining a lot, it was humid, and I remember realizing I could be, in a nice place, maybe in the coast, in the beach, having a good time, and I'm here suffering so much. Why am I so happy? It dawned on me that it didn't make any sense that I was so happy doing that. And I realized that it was a different type of happiness, deeper, more lasting, that comes from a different place. And it came from the fact that we are doing something important for the ones who were ministering or serving in that mission trip. Okay, the last one is what we call sublimitas, and it comes from this desire that we all have of meaning, purpose, but even more, this desire for something infinite, for something that does not pass, if you want. This one is not as easy to perceive, this desire, because often it's hidden below many layers of urgent things that we have to do, of daily life, the urgencies of daily life. But when we have some time to be quiet or to make some silence, we connect with this desire. This perception that nothing in this life is enough, that nothing fulfills us completely, even the best things in this life, like getting married or having a kid or finishing your career, or they are very good, they're excellent, they can be very fulfilling, but it's like we want more. This desire for something that is not in this life. C.S. Lewis, great apologist, he says, we have eyes and there are colors. We have, hunger, desire to eat, and we have a stomach. We have lungs, the need to breathe, and there's air. We have sexual desires, and there's sex. And we have this deep desire for something infinite. There has to be something to fulfill that desire. Something that is beyond all that we can achieve, humanly speaking. I have a quote there by C.S. Lewis, and it says, "There have been times when I think we do not desire heaven. But more often I find myself wondering whether in our heart of hearts we have ever desired anything else." Sometimes when he says, when I think maybe we don't want heaven, but then more often I think that is the only thing that we really desire. And then he explains, something which you were born desiring, and which beneath the flux of other desires and in all the momentary silences between the louder passions, night and day, year by year, from childhood to old age, you are looking for, watching for, listening for. You have never had it. All the things that have ever deeply possessed your soul have been but hints of it, promises never quite fulfilled, echoes that died away just as they caught your ear. Best things in this life are ambassadors of something else that we desire. When we get closer to that something else that we desire, we experience some of this sublimitas. The fullness of the sublimitas we don't experience in this life, but we experience anticipations of this. This fourth level is hard to explain, because if you experience it, you did, and if you haven't experienced, you don't know what I'm talking about, no? But if you know what I'm talking about, it's this perception of God, basically, of someone, a deeper reality, an infinite reality that is able to fulfill our an infinite love, an infinite beauty, an infinite life that will rescue us from death and from decay. And once in a while, it's like the curtain is moved, or the veil is moved, and we somehow perceive some of that. Of course, if you have faith, if you're a Christian, the access to this experience is easier somehow, no? But people that were not Christian knew about this. Plato, for example, he spoke about this, of this infinite, when he spoke about the ideas. And children know this. They want to know the truth. Why? They want infinite truth. And lovers know this. They want infinite love. It seems that it's never enough. And artists know this. They want infinite beauty, and so on. And if we don't have that, we fabricate idols for ourselves. Someone told me recently, my religion is biology. This student was a biology major, and I thought to myself, how can you make biology a religion? That is a bit of religion. Okay, so as a disclaimer, one of these four levels that we spoke about will be the dominant one, the one who has, if you want, the center in your life. All of them are good, but they are good if they are in the proper order. If they are out of order, out of place, unbalanced, then they're not so good. They can destroy us as well. So the tricky thing is that number one, pleasure, number two, achievements, tend to seek the center by themselves, if you want, because they're rooted in the body. So if we let things just flow down the river, one or two will claim the center of your life. So imagine now what type of person would you be or someone would be if number one is the most important value, the most important desire. If I live around pleasure, what type of person you become? I think it's very easy to see. You become someone selfish and superficial. If your main, thing in life is to have good moments, probably you won't become evil, but you will become pretty selfish and shallow, if you want. And also bitter, because as you grow older and as life becomes more difficult, it's not as easy to also have good moments, always have good moments. No? Okay. What if for you the most important thing is number two? To be an achiever. What type of person you become if for you the most important thing is power or recognition or control or success? Would you want to be around someone like that, whose number one priority is number two, who always wants to win? Yeah, you get the idea. So we really are called to prioritize number three and number four, if you want. To put in the center, ideally number four, ideally God, but at least number three. To choose every day to live for others, to live to make a difference, to live to serve, to live to give, to put yourself for the sake of those around you. And as you do that, for sure, you will enjoy some success and some achievement, and you will enjoy many pleasures as well, but as byproducts and not as your main goals in life. People who have meaning, who have purpose, are people who have found a number three type of happiness and are not obsessed with number one or number two. And they achieve this lasting sense of peace as well, because there's always a possibility to be with someone or to make a difference for someone, even when your capacity to enjoy pleasurable things or to achieve are somehow diminished by sickness or age or whatever, or poverty or crosses that you have to face. If you make number four the center, then that is the best situation to somehow integrate the rest. Someone who makes the quest for God the center of his or her life is able to integrate in a balanced and wholesome way all the rest of our desires and somehow achieves the four as much as they can be achieved in this life. I want to finish by posing, this question. If you are someone that you make number one, number two the center. Let's say that you are an achiever or you're someone, an hedonist. Are people problems or mysteries? Is life an opportunity, an adventure, or a problem? What is your level of anxiety? Are you selfish or generous? I think you can see very easily the convenience of somehow decide and exercise your freedom to put these four levels in order. Okay, as a way of discussing in the tables or in your houses or wherever, or in your small groups through internet, in whatever way you are connected with each other, I leave you this question. Did you find any useful insight in this talk? Something that you liked and you find useful? You can also disagree with me if you think that is too simplistic or whatever. You can also say it. How do you see we're educated, generally speaking, to prioritize third and fourth level of happiness? Have you ever thought about the relationship between Christianity and happiness? I didn't talk much about Christianity, but I leave that for your discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Father Ivan. And with that, we now give you time in the different places or the different Zoom connections to now discuss among yourselves. I'm going to leave these questions posted there on our screen for the live stream in case you don't have them with you. And then at 8:30, so in about 25 or so minutes, we'll wrap it up, okay? Obviously, if you have a large group and you want to keep going a bit more, you can do so, but let's do a formal wrap up for as an official closure. So I'll leave this on the screen, and you can keep now the conversation going on. Okay, we have reached the end of the evening. I've been very glad that we could connect in this way and we could share with you this first talk of the Alpha series. You know, if you enjoy this first presentation of the Alpha course and you think, you know, this is something worth keeping on a weekly basis, we invite you to join us next week on Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. We'll send you a new link and you can connect with the same group and keep the discussion going. In the upcoming sessions, we'll cover different areas that will help us go deeper into what it means to be a Christian and a Catholic. Next time we're going to talk about why would people want to be Christian? You know, why would it be desirable for someone to embrace the faith? And then we're going to talk about faith and reason, about the person of Christ. Why did Jesus die the way he died? We're not going to talk about the Bible and prayer, the Holy Spirit. So really, really good topics, and each of them has a lot of good stuff for discussion. So with that, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have happen to have a large group that is gathered right now and you want to keep going, feel free to keep it going for the time you need. Always encourage folks not to stay too long because we'll have things going on the next day. Have a good evening. God bless, and I look forward to seeing you next time.